Thank you. You guys ready to rock? All right. So there's nothing on the screen at the moment. But what I'm going to talk to you is a brief documentary about Ireland. It's a kind of a brief 4-stop tour around Ireland. And what I actually have on the screen for you now is like a kind of an undetailed map of the geology of Ireland. So basically in the middle, you have loads of sedimentary rocks, which are really boring. Basically everything underneath our feet at the moment is sedimentary rocks. It's what's in, it's not quite there yet. It's and then in the north of the country, where the red is at the top, is where our igneous rocks are, e.g. what was lava. And then on the west coast and the south, we have metamorphic rocks. Now, if you know nothing about rocks, but you know something about Pokemon, you can think of metamorphic rocks as like the evolved equivalents of like sedimentary and igneous rocks. So they grow up to be metamorphic rocks over time. There we go. Nailed it. Okay, so the first stop on our tour is Trinity College, Dublin. Now Trinity has a lot of things that I could possibly have talked about. There's the museum building, which a lot of that row over there are well used to at this stage. And there's like the Great Irish Deer that stands outside of it. It's like kind of a really cool little hallway. And then outside of that, there's like a really cool like marble staircase, basically made out of like 10 different rocks. But I'm not going to talk about any of that. What I'm going to talk about instead is that if anybody's ever been to Nassau Street and seen the black gates that surround Trinity, they were actually made by a guy called Robert Mallet. Now Robert Mallet was actually the father of seismology, which is kind of cool because he comes from a country which literally has no major earthquakes. And when I say the father of seismology, he even invented the word seismograph and came up with the word epicenter. And the way he used to study them in Ireland is he genuinely used to like fill big tubs full of TNT and barrels and then just explode them and see how the seismic waves went through the earth. So in 1849 in Clew Beach, he tried to do this and basically destroyed the whole beach. Okay, so the second part of our tour is actually the Shannon Estuary in Kent. Hey! Anyway, so cool. If you're ever waiting for a bus on Nassau Street, there it is there, Robert Mallet, father of seismology. Alright, so the second part of our tour is the Shannon Estuary in County Limerick. And why the Shannon Estuary? Well, I'm going to go talk about Greek mythology for a little bit. So in Greek mythology, Iapetus was the father of Atlantis. Or in other words, in geology terms, the Iapetus Ocean and what was there before the Atlantic Ocean. So 470 million years ago, the Iapetus Ocean was this gigantic ocean that separated all the supercontinents. But 470 million years ago, this kind of, all the continents collided together and formed the Caledonian mountain building event. So before this time, Ireland was actually two halves. The northern part was Apollonia and the southern part was Laurentia. And 470 million years ago, they collided and formed what's called the Iapetus suture. Now, there's no evidence of this suture in Ireland, but if we go over and do a brief detour to the Isle of Man, it's sticking. You can actually stand right on the suture line, so where the fracture line, where the two continents met each other. And I was going to make a sly joke about two old people standing on the rocks, and that's what I'm going to be like when I'm 80 years old, but anyway. So stop number 3 is the Ox Mountains in County Sligo. And the reason why I'm going to talk about the Ox Mountains is because this is where I did my undergraduate mapping thesis, and I'm going to talk about how a geologist kind of interprets a landscape. So in this picture here, there's literally no rocks. There's like a little bit of rock at the top, and that's about it. And that's because we did it in an area where there was about 4 foot of blanket bog everywhere. So we had to go and find where the rocks were. And what we found out that 26,000 years ago, when the glaciers retreated across Ireland, they retreated in kind of a northwest to southeast trend. So that means when the glaciers retreated, they just picked up all the rock, or all the kind of crap that we didn't want to look at on the northern side of the slopes, and just moved it out of the way for us. So we just had to realize that when we wanted to look for rocks, we just looked on the northern side of all these slopes, which is very similar to Clew Bay. If anybody's climbed Crowpatrick and you see the drumlins in the middle of in Clew Bay, you can tell the glaciers kind of went like that kind of a direction. The final stop is Electric Picnic. It used to be the Giant's Causeway, but everyone kind of, I thought it would be more suitable to be the Electric Picnic. So underneath our feet at the moment is limestone. Limestones can be quite cool. So everyone's heard about the Aloe caves and the Nora stalactites and stalagmites form, and then you can also get this really cool like karst pavement underneath. But there's actually none of that, unless there could be caves and stalagmites like really far underneath the ground here, but we don't know. instead, what's cool about this is it's actually called the Dynantian impure limestone, and it's where most of the water in Ireland actually flows through. So most of the tap water that we have flows through this because it's really clean. Also, for this to have formed, it needed to form in like a tropical climate, in like a warm, dry sea. It would have been perfect for me to talk about this like 2 days ago when it was absolutely lashing rain, and we could have said we once had like a tropical climate, but unfortunately we don't now. Anyway, thank you very much.